Hello, everybody. Welcome to Attitudes with Andy. Thank you so much for being here. This is the place where we get to learn and grow together about how we can be our best selves. Today, I am super duper keen for this episode. It's the earliest I've ever been into the studio. And last night, I struggled to sleep because I was like, I can't wait for this episode. That's truth. Anyway, so today I'm very excited because I'm speaking to a man who has built up his e-commerce businesses to be generating millions of dollars. And not only that, but he has a program that teaches people how to do this as well. He is a man who works hard, but has also come from humble beginnings. And so today we're going to be hearing all about his journey, the lessons he's learnt, and so much more. So without further ado, welcome Daecian Sparkes-Young.
Thank you. That was actually like a really nice intro. I appreciate that. That kind of hit home on that. I appreciate you for having me on here. We were talking before this, and I feel like we're just going to hit this straight off the bat. Like, you're very easy to communicate with. Like, sometimes you get it's very hard to get a conversation going, but I feel like I've known you already for a long time for some reason. You're very easy to communicate with. So, yeah, first of all, I appreciate you for having me on here. I'm super pumped for this. I actually am. I'm pretty pumped for this.
Yes.
It's not the 4 shots of coffee that got me here. I'm actually pumped.
Genuinely pumped. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We're besties already. I think we spoke for half an hour before the podcast.
We were is this thing recording?
I know. I was like, damn it, save it for the podcast. Okay, so I would love to go back to the beginning. You are still really young. Are you 24?
24 next week. I'm still 23.
Oh, happy birth.
Yeah, I'm a Leo. Yeah, happy birth next Wednesday, 24. I'm getting old.
A Leo, that makes so much sense. No, I actually know nothing about star signs.
Okay, good.
Okay, so 23, awesome. And you're doing quite well. You rocked up in a pretty flash car, and I was like, oh, that's lovely. But let's go back to the beginning of the humble days of Daecian.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I definitely want to talk about is that car as well, because it was a smart decision that I made with that car. So we'll come back to that later, and I'll give you a little bit of a strategy around that car. Okay,
how we can buy a car as a tax write-off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you've just hooked them.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, seriously. I started... the journey for me was a bit different. I dropped out of high school. I didn't have any background in business or anything like that. I remember you had an option to even pick business in high school. So I dropped out in year 12. But before that, you could select I don't even know, the classes that you wanted to learn about. And I remember business being one of them. And I was like, fuck that. You let us swear on this podcast?
Yeah, go for it.
And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely, it wasn't even a thought in my head that I would ever be launching a business, ever. And so even before that, I wanted to be a professional football player, soccer. And that was what I did all the way until I was up to 16. And then I just got too much pressure on me, and I fell out of love with the game. And so that's kind of, I just didn't really do anything after that. And so then I dropped out of high school because I knew that wasn't for me. I used to skip all of my classes. I would go to school for one class, and then just call mum and be like, oh yeah, I'm done for the day. You need to come pick me up now. And she'd be like, how are you done? But okay. So then she would come pick me up.
What a legend.
And she knew that I didn't like school as well. So it was kind of what you need to do something. And I was like, okay, well, my brother was working in a trade at the time in a warehouse. And so I remember one morning I was going to school, and he messaged me saying hey, we're hiring, the company I'm working for at the warehouse is hiring. Do you want it? Yes or no? And I remember thinking, and I was like, how much do you make a week in that? And he's like you'll be making $600 a week. And so I was like, holy crap, that's $1,200 a fortnight. Oh my God, what am I going to do with all of this money? So I didn't go to school that day, went straight to the warehouse. They showed me what I needed to do. And I remember thinking I'm just going to make so much money, making $600 a week. I was 17 at the time, 17 or yeah, I was 17. And I was so keen. 3 days later, I remember almost crying that I had to go because I hated it that much. I hated getting up at 6 a.m. disliked the crap out of it. I ended up staying for a long period of time. I would say, like 6 to 8 months. I ended up staying at that job, working in a warehouse. We would build Australian radio towers. That was the company that I worked for. And like,
That's a long time to stay at something that you don't like.
100%, but I was like, what else can I do? At the time, I had physically dropped out of high school as well, so I couldn't go back to school. There were 3 terms. There were like 2 semesters left, and then it went into like the HSE, I think it's called. I can't even remember, which is like where you do all your exams and things. And so from there, then I really got obsessed with traveling. I got so obsessed. I remember that I don't even think I've talked about this, to be honest, but I remember like I used to work, I'd put headphones in and I'd listen to Kygo, and I would vision the edits that I would make traveling when I get back home from travel. And so like I would be in this fantasy land in my head at the job that I hated because it made me feel good. And so I was so passionate about traveling at the time. And I remember I had booked flights to New Zealand, and then I booked flights to Bali from being able to like work at that job. So I had saved up, I can't even remember, it was probably like maybe like $1,500.
Oh,
like not even much. And I'm like
swimming in it.
Yeah, swimming in it. And so then I went to New Zealand, and I loved New Zealand. My mum's from New Zealand as well. And yeah, I remember like we would make edits, and I would come back home and edit it all, and I would have so much fun doing it. And then I went to Bali, came back, and I remember being in Bali, like this is something that I also don't think I've talked about. And this was at the same time that I was still working in that warehouse. So I was like dead broke. Like I had no money when I was coming on the last day, coming back to Bali, from Bali. And so I'd gone with some friends, and I was in the airport, coming home, and I was starving, so hungry, and I didn't have any money. I had $0 in my account to be able to go to like a cafe and get food. So I had to wait 6 hours on the flight, and then like probably like 2 hours in between of like customs on both sides of the airports for my mum to bring me a sandwich when I got back. That's how much, like, I literally, I just remember that feeling, and I was like, I hate this feeling. Like having no money, I hate it. I do not like it. And then so after that, then I went and became a Chippy's labourer. So I was like just doing work for Chippy's, like building houses and things like that. And I did that for about, I would say like 6 months. And then I got offered a better job. And so at this other job, it was like working on the roadsides, building, like doing like being a labourer for steel fixers and things like that, like concreting essentially. And so I remember I was making, I think it was like $32 or $39 an hour.
$39 an hour?
Yeah.
That's pretty decent for like, what were you, 19?
I was 17, 18.
Oh,
at the time,
17, 18.
Like, yeah, 18. But that was when like the kind of pivotal moments came, because I really, really disliked it. I would have to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not like an early person. Like I really, really prioritize my sleep, and I think it's super important. And when I don't have sleep, I get really bad migraines where I can't see and things like that. We talked about it already. But I would wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. My friend would pick me up from my mum's house. We would drive to Brisbane, which is about an hour and a half drive. And then I'd work 10 to 12 hour days just carrying steel. And then I would drive an hour and a half to 2 hours home in traffic. Eat dinner when I get home, go to sleep, wake up at 4 a.m. the next day.
That actually sounds like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly did not like that. I have videos on my phone where I would take videos with the intention of knowing that one day I'm not going to be in this position. And so I'd take videos of myself because I would manifest editing them when I'm doing well for myself. And I'd turn that into a reality. But going back to that, I would literally feel myself being like, I'm not happy. Like, I'm not happy right now. Like, and it was the worst feeling. I remember it used to literally make me feel terrible because I really didn't want to do it. And that's just me. Like, some people love it. They thrive off that stuff, and that's great. But like for me, I really didn't want to do it, and I knew I couldn't do this for the rest of my life. It was just not what I wanted to do. And I was so passionate about getting out of it that was like the motivation for me to go and start something. And so what I did from there was I started to become aware of the High Smile boys. And so I knew that they owned this company
High Smile is like a really big toothpaste company, especially in Australia. For
Yeah.
some context.
Yeah, just for context. And that was probably like 5 years ago. So I was probably like pushing in towards the 18 years old now. And so I remember like seeing them on like, I don't even know, like Instagram and like maybe news articles. And I think they were on Forbes 30 under 30. They were both like $50 million worth.
50?
Yeah, at the time.
50 mil each.
Maybe 20 mil, 30 mil, something like that.
Something high in the mill.
a lot of millions. And I used to not fantasize, that's not the right word. I would admire the lifestyle that they were living. And they were from the Gold Coast. They were two friends. And I was like, why can't I do this? They're just two guys that started a business. And this is where the kind of like e-commerce mindset came out. I was like, I found out that they were selling a Alibaba product, right? Like anyone can go and sell that product, but they're making millions from it.
I've heard that they started as dropshipping and now they create their own.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they started dropshipping. They could have.
No, but as in they started as an e-commerce and now they
have inventory, develop their own products, manufacture it, things like that. Essentially, so I came across them and that made me happy. Like I was so excited when I came across them. I'm like, how cool would be owning a brand? How cool would that be? I would get this like fiery feeling, not out of being envious of them, out of like, I could do this too. There are millions of products online and I can go sell anything. What the fuck? Why am I not doing this right now? I could literally sell anything in the world. Anything. There's millions of products on AliExpress and Alibaba. But the one thing was I didn't have capital. I had probably like $50 to my name.
Were you just bad with your money? Because it sounds like you worked a lot of hours.
I was so bad. No, but like then I I was on and off as well. Like some days they wouldn't need us, some days they would. And then at the time as well, I really liked going out. Like I was young, so I would like spend a lot of money and then like I'd buy nice clothes and that's just what I enjoyed. But it wasn't sustainable, obviously, because you would have to go back to the job that you hated every single day. Yep. And so I was still like at the time that I'm talking about, like the High Smile boys, I was still working this job. And then that's what made me like super excited to get out of the job, was like seeing the lifestyle that they were living and what was possible with e-com. And I didn't even know what e-com was at the time as well. I had no idea. I'm so green to the area at this stage. Like I literally know nothing at all.
How would you explain e-com, just for some context?
It's just selling physical or digital products online. Simple as that.
Sick.
Yeah. So then I probably had like, I don't even know, like I literally was like really, really bad with money. And so I maybe had like $150 to $200 to my name, and then I got let off that job because they didn't need us anymore. Like me and my friend, they literally didn't have enough work for us. We didn't get fired or anything. That was like, we like come back in like 3 months. And then, so I probably had like $200 to my name. And then I became obsessed with this. I said, I'm going to do this until it works, and I'm not going to give up. I will not give up ever. And this is at the same time I became very aware of the law of attraction and manifestation.
Have you read The Secret?
I haven't read The Secret, but...
That's like the OG.
Yeah, so...
Or Watch The Secret?
Yeah, I know what it is, but it's like a regurgitated book of Esther Hicks.
Oh, okay, is it?
Yeah, so it's the book that I have read is The Law of Attraction by Esther Hicks.
Oh, okay.
And so that... From what I've heard from her speaking about it, was like they came to her saying like, can we white label your product?
Oh, okay.
And they were like, she was like, no.
Oh.
And so she's like a channeler. She channels with Source Energy, and she does like seminars, things like that. So my mum introduced me to her, and I remember thinking like when they used to listen to her all the time for context, and I was like 15, oh no, not 15, maybe like 16, 17, and be like, turn this shit off. I did not want to hear
What is this wacky woo-woo stuff?
Yeah, I did not want to hear it. And then it just made so much sense to me. Like I would be like, I want this car park. Boom, there's a car park out the front of where I need it. Then I'd be like, I want a job opportunity. Boom, this job opportunity comes up. I want to meet this person. Boom, this person would reach out to me. Something like that. So it became very aware that this stuff works, and I was matching my, I would put myself in the situation of what it would feel like when I do meet that person or when I do park that car. Not I want this car park, which I'll talk about in a little bit more because I think it'll really help a lot of people. But then, so I had about $200 to my name, and then I really became obsessed with the idea of launching an e-commerce store. And I said to myself, I'm never going to give up until it works. That's it.
So you just knew in your gut, like, this is the thing.
Yes. Yes, I did. And with that too, for people watching, it wasn't like I had this entrepreneurial feeling that I was going to be an entrepreneur or anything like that. It was like, no, I just wanted to make money. I'm going to make it work. I don't give a fuck. That was it. I'm going to make it work. And so then I started to like look up products online, and I didn't know what dropshipping was at the time. So I was just looking at brands, and then I came across like a IPL laser machine handset, which was like at home IPL to get rid of your hair. And I was like, this is a great product. It's a solution to a problem. People don't want to like expose themselves when they go into IPL places, and like it's at home. It's in the comfort of your home. Like anxieties are probably on the rise as well. People don't want to go outside, etc. I was like, this is a great product. One handset cost me $137 for a sample, and I was like, I got $200. What the fuck am I gonna do? So got that ordered, and it was so good. And then I remember messaging them. Actually, before that, so yeah, I got the sample, it was really good, and then I figured out that I didn't have enough money to pay for $10,000 worth of stock because dropshipping wasn't huge. I didn't know what dropshipping was, and I was like, fuck, how am I going to do this? So then I like put together a pitch, showed my mum. Mum's like, I don't have $10,000. No. Showed like, and then I was like showing my cousin that was in the industry as well, in like the skincare industry kind of thing. And then like hoping that maybe one day she would be like, oh, I think this is a good idea. I'll support you and do this.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of was just like, no. And then so I remember like YouTubing, like I would just watch a lot of YouTube, and I always wanted to be a YouTuber. I was obsessed with Jake Paul, and I would consume a lot of YouTube. And then I came across one day like dropshipping. I'm like, what the fuck is dropshipping? And then it was like a business model of e-commerce where you didn't have to have the stock. You didn't have to have literally anything. Like you didn't have to see or touch the product. You didn't need a warehouse. You didn't need a team. You didn't need to fulfill your orders. And then I was like, wait, that just literally has blown my mind, because now I can do the e-commerce, but I don't need the tens of thousands of dollars. Holy shit. This is the best thing ever. What is going on? Like I was so like, boom, boom, boom. Like so many ideas are going off in my head. And I'm like, this just makes so much sense. I buy it for 10, I sell it for 50, and I keep the profits besides marketing. And it was as simple as that. Every business does it. But this business model, like every business does it. Every business marks up the price. But this business model, you didn't need to see or touch the product or anything. I didn't need a warehouse. I didn't need to import it all. So then, 10 months, I'm just in my dungeon, like my room, beds on the floor on the mattress. My mattress is on the floor because I didn't have a bed frame or anything. Bed's on the floor with the mattress. So I didn't. Good
English. Yeah. It's all right. You're getting passionate.
Yeah. And so like I was just full hustle mode for 10 months. I had no money. People would message me, "Oh, Dace, come for a coffee." And I'd be like, "Nah, I can't. I'm so motivated."
Oh, I love that. So you went into like dark mode, like this is my, not dark mode, but like hustle mode,
yeah,
focus.
And it wasn't even the fact that like I knew I was in that. I was just doing it. I was just like, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make this work.
And you had no other job at the time?
I wasn't working, no.
I love that. So you were like, either we make it work or we're fucked.
Yeah, it was like I really had no other option. I wasn't going to go back to work. There's no way. I wouldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, as David Joggins would say, you burnt the boats.
I burnt the boats.
With no other option.
I had to swim.
I had to swim.
And so like I'm in like the mindset that I was in, how hard I was working every day as an 18-year-old. Like like keep in mind as well, I didn't even know what e-commerce was like 2 days ago when I was like first starting. And so I've got to figure out all this stuff. What is e-commerce? What does that even mean? What is the business model of drop shipping? I didn't even know what business model meant. I'm just like looking how to do this. My vocabulary wasn't even like established yet. Like I remember like shooting videos of trying to do affiliate marketing, and I remember watching them back and being like, dude, I couldn't even speak to the camera. I was trying everything to just make money online. And then yeah, long story short, like in this whole, like I'm just in my room every single day, no one talk to me. I'm just doing this. I would email suppliers, hey, do you let people drop ship from Alibaba? Because I didn't know what AliExpress was. And AliExpress is like the drop shipping kind of center of Alibaba. And so I didn't know you could do that. I would message the people, hey, can I drop ship this product? And they're like, what is drop shipping in like Chinese? And then I'm like, oh my God, drop shipping is when you do this. And then I'm like, okay, give it a go. And then I'd be like, okay. And then I'd put up on eBay because I didn't have enough money for marketing. So I'd put it up on eBay. I'd make like a sale. I remember making my first sale. I was in the gym and I was like, yes, let's go. It was like $160 sale. I bought the thing for like $155. But I made $5. And then I'm like, this works. Like, this really, really works. Like, this online stuff definitely does work. And then this is when it got crazy. So I was like, I figured out what like drop shipping was of AliExpress. And I remember I had started to get down. I probably had like $12 in my bank or something like that. So I had like literally zilch in my account. And then like the landscapers of the apartment that we used to live in was like, hey, we're going away for 2 weeks. Can you take the bins out of all of these places around the area that I was living in, and I'll give you $200. And I went, holy fuck, $200? I'm going to make so much money off this. And it was embarrassing for me. I didn't want to take bins out as an 18-year-old in the neighborhood that I lived in. That's so embarrassing. Imagine if someone saw me. And so like for me, it was embarrassing. Like I was like just out of school and stuff. Everyone knew each other. And so like I quickly did it one day. I just like quickly took all the bins out. And then he gave me like $250. And I'm like, dude, thank you so much. Like, actually, thank you. And I remember I was like, I'm going to do so much with this money. And that's when I started to go really all in on drop shipping. And I launched probably like 5 products. And at the time, you didn't have to spend that much money to test a product. So I'd spend like $5 a product. And I also still didn't know what I was doing. So I had no idea, no strategy going into it. Just upload a random thing on Facebook ads. I didn't even know the Facebook ads platform. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want people to know that are watching, I didn't start and have a clear understanding of what this was and how it was going to work. I had to figure out everything by myself. No one was helping me. Literally no one. I had a couple of YouTube videos that I would watch, but I just had so much motivation to get out of what I wanted to do. And I knew that the possibility was there for it to make me a lot of money because these other people have done it. And I want people that are listening to this to listen to what I'm saying and go, he's done it, I can do it as well. And that's the mentality. Like, that's why I'm explaining this in such detail. And so I had $200 and I tested a bunch of products, probably like 5 or 10. None of them worked. And
were you making websites for them as well?
Yeah. So I didn't even know what Shopify was at the time. I was using ClickFunnels. I didn't know what Shopify, I didn't even know what that was. I had no idea. So I was using a funnel builder, which is called ClickFunnels, where you build landing pages. And it was the shittest thing. It was so ugly, the store that I was making. Long story short, after that, actually not long story short, I'm still going into it. I ended up ordering inventory of a product, and I thought the blue light blocking glasses were going to work. And for some reason, I went against the dropshipping business model, and I ordered product of 800 units of blue light blocking glasses.
Where'd you get this money from?
So I wrote a contract to my mum, and I said, if you give me like $1,500 or something like that, I'll put in this much $250 that I have. Just trust me on it. It's going to work. I will make it work. It has to work. I know it will. And so after so much negotiation, like with her and her partner, they ended up giving it to me. They put through the purchase order of the product. And then I'm like, oh shit, it's on. It's on. And this was literally June 2018. June 2018. And so it arrives. I start giving it to people, like for free. I'm like giving it to people, shipping it off. It was so cool. Didn't sell any. I sold one.
You sold one?
I sold one product.
And you had 800?
I had 800, and it was like $2,000 worth or something like that of stock. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I tried to launch Facebook ads for them because I didn't know what I was doing. They didn't work. Then I freaked out. And I was like, holy shit, no, I'm throwing this to the side. Probably like 3 days later, after I figured out I sold one, I was like, this isn't going to sell. Next thing. And
You're a fast mover and fast learner.
I didn't have enough time to complain about it. I was literally like, this isn't working. I need to go to the next thing. Why did I drop ship? Why didn't I drop ship? What am I doing? Why did I order inventory if I just learnt drop shipping like by myself? And I completely went against the business model and I've ordered inventory. But the reason being was I wanted to have a brand and look cool.
Ego.
Yeah. Like I just wanted to be the cool guy that owned a brand like High Smile. That's what I wanted to create. But there is so much risk involved in that because you have inventory. Even like there's so much stuff that goes into holding inventory of your product, so much. And so literally 3 days later, I realized it didn't work. And I said, I'm literally going to drop ship again. And then it was like the 27th of July. Sorry, it's 27th. No, when the hell was it? Yeah, it was like June 27th or something like that, and I came across the hoodie online. So just scrolling my news feed, I'm like, this is a really, really good product. It has wow factor, and it's cool. I can target people in relationships, and I just thought it would be a cool product to sell. So I whipped up a store in a day, launched it, and I found it on AliExpress. The next day, it didn't make any sales, but it blew up. Everyone, all the girls were commenting, commenting their boyfriends' names. It was before you could send it in a DM.
Or like on Facebook, there was a Facebook
So
ad.
I launched ads. Yeah.
And then people were like commenting
There
on
was
that.
like 150 comments overnight.
Oh, damn.
Which was crazy.
That's a lot.
Back then.
Yeah.
And then I have a video on my phone in my memories, and I'm like, oh my God, like my thing is blowing up and it's getting a lot of traction. It hasn't made a sale yet. And then the next day I woke up to like $100 in sales or something like that. And that was like the life-changing moment where I was like, this is it. This is how I'm never going back to work again. And it was just $100 that made me think that. And then throughout the whole day, it was sales. I probably made like maybe $180, $250 in sales in the second day. And I took my mum out for breakfast and I was showing her like all the sales, and she was like, this is it. And then I remember going to the gym and I got super emotional that I had to leave the gym because I was making sales at the gym. Aww. And it was 10 months of hard work and no one believed in me. Nobody thought that I could make this work. People that went to like uni for business were like laughing at me, and I'm just a tradie and dropped out of high school. So why would it work for me? And I had all this determination. I remember I had to leave the gym because I was so emotional, and I came home and just gave my mum the biggest hug, and I was like, it's happening. Like this is, I will remember that day my whole life. And so
I've got goosebumps. That's special.
Yeah. And it was hard. Like 10 months not working.
Did that feel lonely?
I didn't care. Like, yeah, 100%. But I love being by myself. You can't blame anyone else. Like if something doesn't go the way you want it to go, whose fault is it? It's your own. It's your own regardless. But I don't need other energy around me. The vibration that I was on was crazy. People would come into my vibration, like surrounding, like in my circle, and would feel it. They would go. I was motivating the fuck out of them to start something, and it hadn't even worked for me yet. But I would give them some of the energy that I had, and it was just, yeah, it was a crazy experience that I was going. And one thing that I want to add is I would lay in bed on my mattress on the floor, and every single night I would scroll Pinterest listening to music, and I would vision my Pinterest was filled with yachts, guys in business clothes, really nice clothes, and there would be like Rolexes and Lamborghinis, and I was super materialistic at the time because that's what motivated me. I was super, super motivated by materialistic things, and I didn't care. It made me get into what I wanted to do, but that's just what made me happy, and it made me super excited. And I remember I used to lay in bed and close my eyes and vision holding tens of thousands of dollars in my hand, to the point where I didn't know if it was real or not. And it was a great exercise because it made me happy, and I would put myself in the situation of what would it feel like when I'm actually doing that. And so I wasn't going like, oh, I want a $10,000 I want to have, because you're coming from the lack of. So you're associating your feelings with coming from the position that you're in at the time. So you're you're coming, the feeling that you're feeling when you're saying, I wish I had this or I want this, you're coming from the lack of having it.
It's like, oh, I don't have that.
Yeah, so you're telling
you're needy
yourself.
of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what I would do was I would be like, what's it going to feel like when I walk into Combank and talk to the ladies and say I want $10,000 as an 18-year-old out of my bank account? What's the look that they would give me? What's the aircon going to feel like when I would walk into the Combank? What does it smell like? Who's going to be in there? How many people are going to be in there? I would play this over and over and over again in my like before I would go to bed, and it would make me so happy. It would make me so happy. And then fast forward with that, like I would manifest a lot, like not intentionally, but like even to the point where I had my shower. You think a lot in the shower, right? So I would think, how can I make the shower a productive session in a way, as weird as it sounds. And so all over my mirror, the window outside of the shower, you couldn't look at it without reading a sentence. I had that much writing all over my shower windows.
Like on the inside?
On the outside.
How do you read it? Wouldn't it be backwards?
I would still read. I would. That's a good point. But I think that I knew what it would say, so then I would read it. So it would be backwards, but I knew how to read it.
Okay.
And because if it was on the inside, it would be wet and it would just wash off.
So true. Would you write it like with like a marker?
Yeah. I have photos of it. I'll show you after this.
Please.
And it would say like, I am going to be the youngest entrepreneur. I'm the best at what I do. I am going to make $1 million on this date. I am going to do this. I love what I do. I am happy. I am winning. I am striving. And it would have that. And while I was in the shower, I would read all of it every single day for like 10 months. And then I also wrote myself a check for $1 million in a year's time. From when I started dropshipping, the first thing I did was write myself a check because I used to watch Jim Carrey I used to watch celebrities talk about manifestation and the law of attraction when I was like starting out, like when the journey first started. And so I would literally watch like Denzel Curry talk about it. Is it Denzel Curry? I think so. And then I would watch like Jim Carrey talk about it. And then I would watch just so many people rappers talk about it, like Russ. And they just talk about how real the law of attraction is. And one guy that I really resonated with was Jim Carrey. And he said like he would drive his car and he would picture that it was like a Porsche or something like that when he was driving it. And then he said one day he wrote himself a check for $10 million and dated it like 3 years later. And on that date, he made $10 million. He got a phone call on the exact date. He kept it in his wallet. And I was like, I'm doing that. Wrote myself a check for $1 million on the exact date. That's when my dropshipping store blew up. The exact date.
No,
to a T.
was it actually?
Swear to God. And I remember people telling me the universe works well with time.
Okay.
And you date something, you put in the work, it'll happen on that date. I swear on my life, I have a module on this, like a video that I talked about this. The exact date was when I launched that store and it blew up the next day.
That's crazy.
I didn't make $1 million, but off like on that day, but it was the day that my business started.
Do you know what? I heard you talking about this on one of the old episodes because I have something on my computer, like, you know, just next to it, like a little sticky note with my goals. And there's a financial goal there. And but I didn't have a date. And then after you spoke about it, I was like, oh, okay. So I put a date and then I signed it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then every time I open my computer, which is every day,
you
see it. And then you're like, okay.
Exactly. And one thing is you got to work hard towards it as well.
Yeah, I know, I swear. That's why I was up at 6.
And
that's true. That's true. That is something I wanted to ask about because I feel like some people maybe do only the spiritual thing, like only the visualization, and
it
they're
won't
like,
work.
Damn it.
Some people, you're like talking for yourself. No.
Asking for a friend. No, I'm kidding. I'm all about putting in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you are. We're talking about it before this, but going back to that, even in the video that I would watch of Jim Carrey, he would talk about like, you're not just going to go write this date and then go eat a sandwich and not do anything. Obviously, you work towards it. It will work. Like people that are watching right now, it'll work if you put in the, like I'm telling you, the law, it's real. It's literally physics. How can you go against the law of attraction? Like how? And so, I dated it to that date. That's when the store blew up. And like going back to our old vision, holding tens of thousands of dollars in my hand, I would know everything, every little detail about it. When I would drive my car, I had a Mazda 3 at the time. I literally printed off a Lamborghini logo, stuck it on the steering wheel of the Mazda, and I would drive around like that. And I didn't give a fuck what anyone thought because I knew that I was going to have something one day. And I just did all these little things that were fun, and it made me feel good, like so good. I loved it. I loved visioning. Even I do it now. Like I vision like being on yachts in Croatia, and I'm like walking on the yacht. Like, what does the yacht feel like? How, like, what does everything feel like? What does it smell like? What is the carpet like when you walk into the room on the yacht? I know everything about it. I know what my dream house looks like now. It's not even a dream house. It's a reality house. And so, yeah, I know everything. I literally do it every single night, like every single night before I go to bed. And it's not even like a practice that I do, like, oh, I need to think of this before I go to bed, but I do it. It's just fun.
Happens.
I know exactly what my house looks like.
Well, I can imagine that doing that, because I also do that, but maybe not the smell. I need to add the smell.
It's like every like you have three senses, right? You have like taste, nose, eyes, and ears.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll imagine what it smells. But I can imagine that even motivates you even more, because you're like, in my mind, I've seen it, I've been there, I've done it, and now I just need to put in the work to get there.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you don't do any of that, then you're like, oh wait, why am I doing this? Whereas like I can imagine that helps maybe.
Absolutely. It's just like, and like even I would know what the notes smell like as well. You know, like if you actually think about it, you know what a note smells like. So like I would put that into play. Like what would the note smell like? And it sounds fucking weird, but I just put myself in that position to the where I didn't know if it was real or not. And your subconscious mind can't tell what the difference between imagination and reality. So I would sit there and make sure that I know everything.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's a big ass burp. And yeah, so then I had a store. It made me, so I was 18. It made me 400,000 in 5 months.
Holy
4 months.
schnitzels. Are we allowed to know the product?
Yeah, it was the hoodie.
Oh wait, so were you allowed to sell the hoodie?
Yeah, it was a different variation.
So was it hoodie? Like,
I say the hoodie so people understand what I'm
talking
about.
But you weren't
like
hoodie. Stealing from Dave or something.
No.
Is it Dave?
Absolutely not. Yeah, Dave Fogarty.
Yeah,
Fogarty.
He seems like a legend.
Yeah, he's great.
He's going to come on the podcast.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
he doesn't know it yet.
Oh, okay.
This is me manifesting.
Yeah,
you were like, no way.
But yeah, it was funny. Like I would have like I would have like their team like reach out to me and stuff and be like, you can't sell this product, and I'm just like a little 18-year-old like, why? But then it was a completely different variation of the product, and yeah, it was like it just blew up, and I was like 18 years old, and I even had like a company from overseas. Like e-com's like a very, very competitive space when you're going up against big competitors. And even when you're doing nothing wrong, like I have like a pretty good accountant, and yeah, they're beasts. And then I have like, now I set myself up where I have like really good agreement lawyers and like contract lawyers and stuff, so I can never get fucked over and everything. And so I pay them and then send them the agreements, and that's because I learned these experiences from when I was 18. So then I ended up profiting like $198,000 on that product. And then I was like 18, flew to Bali with the intention of networking, walked into a cafe one day, met these 5 other guys, became an owner of Lux Week. And so now I'm an owner of that company. But I don't do that much with that company. Like we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast. Like I'm not super hands-on with that, but I have equity in that company. And then I came back home. Another thing was like I went into the bank, got $10,000 out and sat in my room by myself and was like, this happened. I did it. Like I remember getting the 10K out. It was it's exactly what I manifested I did. Like it was everything to a T. Sat in my bed, felt all the notes.
How'd that feel once you had the
everywhere.
money? Threw them everywhere.
It was a sense of like, I just knew the law of attraction worked. Like it wasn't like, and I didn't do it for like ego purposes or anything like that. I literally just did it because I was like, I want to make this a reality. Like I've pictured this for so long. This is gonna happen. And yeah, and then now I've launched like multiple e-commerce like dropshipping stores, and I only dropship. I don't hold inventory of products. I don't.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. And then I had some days where I was making $24,000 a day for like 2 weeks straight. And then I've had other products where it's done like over $1 million in a year. And then now I've just transitioned out of dropshipping, unfortunately, because I miss it. And I do my education company full time. We have a team.
Oh, so you have no stores?
None.
Okay, because I saw on your Instagram the other day, you were like, hey, I'm selling a store. It generates like X amount. And I was like, and then you were like DM for offers.
Yeah.
And then I was curious, like, how much do you sell your stores for?
Like 300,000 US. Yeah.
Holy schnitzels. And how much would they
one of our clients got offered 900,000 with his store. Yeah.
So, yeah, how much would they be generating for somebody to pay like 300,000 US?
I think he was probably doing like 200K months.
Sorry, is this the 900,000 or the 300?
900.
Oh, so the 900,000 would be doing how much?
Like maybe like 200K months.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, they should be offering more then. Surely.
Revenue, not profit.
Oh, okay.
It's about like a 25 to 30% margin. Like that's like a kind of normal margin in the space. But yeah, they're not my stores. They're my client stores, like student stores. And they're in like we have a low ticket offer, which is like program and stuff. And then once they're doing like 20 to 30,000 a month, we have a high ticket offer, where it's just like they work with us like proper one-on-one. We do like exit strategies, exit plans, and things like that. So then we get investors to buy their stores, and they just get a massive paycheck, and everybody wins. Like that's what I love doing at the moment. And the reason, like if people listening and like why don't you dropship? Like why don't you dropship anymore if it's that easy? It's just not my focus. I have an end goal with my education company, and it's monetary. And I want to create, I'm going to create Australia's biggest education company for e-commerce. Everyone will know what it is. And I'm definitely like, it is a fairly big company. Like a lot of people know what it is. And I that's my goal. And I have two mentors that have told me if I split my energy between two separate industries or different things, then I can only get a 50% outcome. You can't put 100% of it, or like of your energy into one business and get a 100% outcome of the other business. It's impossible. You cannot do that. You have to focus on one thing. And you see all of these people try so many different industries: affiliate marketing, crypto, forex trading. Then they try drop shipping, and they give everything a go one time and they give up. It's like, what's the common variable there? We all know the business models that I just mentioned worked. Every single one of them work. It's just you're not focusing on one thing. And that's now I guess in a way it's like in a sense like business maturity. Like I've spent so much money just on dumb shit when I was a few years ago. Like when I was a little bit younger, I would buy everything designer because I just wanted to prove everyone wrong. My ego got in the way, and it's just not worth it. But yeah, now my focus is strictly Ecom Academy. We're changing the name soon as well.
Oh, what too?
I can't say yet.
Oops, it's a surprise.
Yeah. So then, and we really want to make learning affordable for the everyday person. That's what I'm going to start doing. And so, which it already is definitely affordable, but I want to be innovative with it. And so that's what I'm working on right now. All of my energy and focus goes into this. And then one day be able to get bought out of the company. It's hard work though. Like drop shipping is so easy compared to creating an education company. Like way harder. Like actually it's, yeah, like having a team is so much different than just running an automated store and you have a VA that fulfills all the orders and does the emails.
If you could go back in time, would you have changed starting your ecom course up?
No, because I actually am in love with building teams and systems and things. I've learned so much. I've learned so much from having an education company. And so, like, we don't just have a course. Like, a lot of people just sell courses. Like, we have coaches. We have a warehouse set up in China for faster shipping, private label, like white labeling, so they can brand the products.
What's white labeling?
White labeling is when you take a product that's an existing product. So let's say like a teeth whitening kit and you put your logo on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Private labeling is where you like manufacture the entire product. But like white labeling, they just slip like a sticker on it, for example. Yeah. So that's what my main focus is at the moment. Just working. Like I actually do love it. Like I love, like I don't know. I'm just so obsessed with it at the moment, like building, but it gets hard. And I don't like admitting that it gets hard, but I have to be real with people. And the reason I don't like admitting that it gets hard is because I'm putting that energy out there. Yeah. So then it becomes hard. And it's because I say it. But I don't like doing that. But I want to be authentic and I want to tell the truth. And for sure, sometimes I want to give up. It's that hard. I don't want to give up. I never will. But like I'll wake up some days and just super anxious. It's hard running a team.
Yeah, thank you for being honest though.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, especially on social media, will just like paint all the highlights of like going to Dubai or like living the dream.
Yeah,
and being
for sure.
On the yachts.
Probably if you looked at my Instagram, it probably looks like that.
It's fire.
But yeah, like there's ways that people travel that are like tax deductible, I guess.
Yeah.
Meetings and.
I want to talk about tax deductions and your car.
Yeah, so
smart. But before we get into that, I just want to do a little comparison of when you were doing like drop shipping and you were earning lots, what like an average day would look like, how much energy input you put once you had things up and running versus what it is now with having like a big team underneath you and all of that.
That's a really, really good question.
Thanks.
So when I was drop shipping, my day would look like wake up, eat breakfast, go gym, come home, check how much I've made, hang with a friend.
Okay. So you literally have pretty much everything automated.
Yeah.
And outsourced.
Dropshipping is a very, very automated business model. Very automated. You literally don't have to do anything.
How?
People are probably watching this being like, it's too good to be true, but I'm serious. Like I tell people this all the time.
Okay.
The hard part is learning, and the hard part's not giving up. That's where people give up, and that's why it's too good to be true, because majority of people, 99% of people would have given up at the stage that I was at, for sure.
100%. I think so. I admire you so much because I think so many people would have given up after you bought all that inventory and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I think people would be like, holy shit, I just borrowed this from my mum. I'm just going to have to go back to work.
Yeah.
They would have pushed that panic button.
Making that happen. No way. And so, yeah, like that was like my day-to-day.
How fulfilled did you feel after doing that for a while?
I was so happy.
Oh, yay.
I'm not even joking. Like, I was so happy. I moved into my own place. This was all from drop shipping. I met the craziest people. There were so many rich people that I met. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I was just on cloud nine. And like, I remember like from first moving into my own apartment, that was like probably the biggest milestone. And also like traveling overseas. And last time that I went to Bali, that I had no money in the airport. And this time I'm making $10,000 days while I'm over there.
He's like, I can buy 5,000 sandwiches a day.
5,000 sandwiches. Yeah, I'm shouting everybody. But that was probably like the best feeling. And even at that stage as well, like I had someone running the ads because like still I just like outsourced someone to run my ads for me. And it was so good. I literally was barely doing anything. I would just hang with my friends. And then, that was pretty much it. But in comparison to now, what is that what you asked? Like,
yeah.
What does my day look like now?
Yeah.
So in the past 2 weeks, I switched it up a lot because I was in a bad mindset. It wasn't a healthy mindset.
Why was it bad?
Because I didn't go outside and I was just working literally all day. And I wouldn't do anything else. I didn't go to the gym. I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating good. There was just so much going wrong. And I wasn't prioritizing my health. And you can't do that. Like you can't make good business decisions when you're in a bad mindset. You have to be in a good mindset. You have to feel good to make good business decisions, obviously. But it's not that obvious when you're in it.
I can imagine that you'd be like, oh, yeah, but I just like don't have time because I just need to like deal with this.
100%.
You'd be like, I don't have time to go for a swim at the beach. I've got staff to pay or whatever.
100%. Like that's word for word what I would say. So one of the guys that I like taught first, like one of my best friends, like I taught dropshipping. He crushes it now. He lives 2 doors down from me in the same complex.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And
Wait,
so
what suburb do you live?
Palm Beach.
Samesies.
Yeah.
Twinsies.
And so he goes to the gym. He just drop ships full time. And he does like $25,000 days now.
Love that.
And he goes gym every morning, and it would ask me all the time, come gym. And I'm like, no, bro, like you don't understand. Like your business model is so automated, mine isn't. And it's
you have time,
yeah.
I don't.
But in a way, like I needed that. Like I needed him to ask me every single, like all the time. And I'm so grateful that he did, because now I do go to the gym. But my day now, like 2 weeks ago before that, I'd probably have 3 or 4 meetings every single morning. They start at 8:30 in the morning, and then they go to about 11 or 12. And then I would work physically on the business every day. So just all the tech side of things, I'd be inside of the business. I became like, I would work in the business and on the business. And so I didn't have enough time to go outside. Like literally, I wouldn't leave my apartment. I was that, but I wasn't even having fun doing it. It was like, I have to do this. I don't want to do it, but I have to. And so then that was it. And then I'd probably wrap up at about like anywhere from like 3 o'clock to like 9 o'clock at night. Like that's when I would stop working, and depending on what I needed to do. And then now.
So you wouldn't socialize at all?
Mm-mm.
You wouldn't hang out with no one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started to like get a very bad mindset, and I started to look at my physique and be like, what are you doing to yourself? Like, this is like the unhealthiest you've been. Like, yeah, you're making money, but it's super unhealthy not to take care of your temple. And so I bought a treadmill, and I was like, I'm going to be able to do exercises at home while I'm working.
Oh my God, were you
Yes,
walking
yes.
whilst you're like one of
I was
those white girls?
Yeah, I have a standing desk, and I would make it stand, and then I would put a treadmill underneath and just try and burn calories doing that.
I've seen like videos of girls doing that, and I was like, do they actually do that, or is this just for a video? But you actually did this.
I actually do it. I would walk like, it got my step literally, guys. Like I would walk probably 570 steps a day. Just around my apartment. Yeah.
500 steps, and the recommended is like 10,000 steps.
And then that got my steps up to around 6,000 to 10,000 a day.
Stunning.
Yeah, so it was super convenient. And then, but I still wasn't I wasn't happy. But now I have a sales manager now. And so I outsource all the sales meetings to him. I have freed up my mornings. I go to the gym the first thing in the morning. And then I come home. I do the necessary work that I need to do. And I've kind of taken a step back and looked at it from more of an operational view, it's what I teach people, but then sometimes you question what yourself. And, so now I kind of prioritize my health over everything, because now I'm making good business decisions, really, really good business decisions. And I believe that the catalyst behind the good business decisions is me prioritizing my health. I'm eating good. I work out every day, and
sleep.
I get about 9 to 10 hours sleep a day. Yeah, my sleep is insane.
Oh, wow, I'm jealous. Okay, that's awesome.
I have an Aura ring, so that's what this is. It tracks everything.
I did think that.
Yeah.
I was like, is that an Aura ring?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I sauna 3 times a week, because I have a sauna in my complex, and that's really good because it stops my migraines as well. I get really, really bad migraines, and that's kind of my focus right now is like taking a step back, freeing up some more of my time, and I'm so much everything's just going like so good at the moment.
That's great.
And it's crazy because like I've just prioritized my health, and I knew it, but it just took one session to go to with my friend Matt. It took me one session, and then after that I went every single day. And I was like, it's just that first time that I needed to get in there. And oh my God, it's the best. It's so good.
That was a quick quick turnaround. Yeah, I feel like you move really quick from hearing everything you do. Like you're like, okay, that's not working. Let's go here. Oh, let's try that. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's do this. Oh, that worked. Let's stick with that.
Yeah, that's probably very accurate. I do. I don't like wasting time. It doesn't make sense to waste time. I'm here for an objective, and I'm gonna do that. That's what I want to do. Also, I know people say this, but like changing people's lives is insane. Like it's crazy.
Changing people's lives.
Yeah.
Aww.
Like I've made so many people quit their jobs and do ecom full time.
Love that.
It's so cool, and like even like so everybody that have like stuck with me, like that didn't talk shit when I was first starting out, all do ecom. Every single one of them. Every single one. And even my brother, he launched a store. I made him quit his job as an electrician. He quit his job. Last month, he launched a store, or 2 months ago, he launched a store. He did $80,000 in his first month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so every single person in my circle right now has an e-com store pretty much that have that were with me since the beginning. Not with me, yeah. But like, that sounds so cringe. But
no, it's okay. I get what you mean. Yeah. I love that. And I feel like when you see people rising, like everyone around them, like you all rise together and you all like push each other. Yeah. I can imagine. What the fuck was that?
What was that?
An earthquake is happening.
Jesus Christ. Is this podcast going to go? Are we going to make it out of this place?
That was creepy.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Okay, a topic that's really close to my heart is money. I love finances.
Yeah.
I love talking about money. I would love to know your thoughts around money. And you know, those people are like, money doesn't buy happiness. What do you think of that?
People that say money doesn't buy happiness usually have neither of those two things.
Ooh.
Like that's I completely. No, that's not right. Money doesn't physically buy happiness, but try buying your mum a car. See how happy you are. Like that, it's just such a backwards thing to think. Like it's such a bad mindset. Money doesn't buy happiness. Come on, man. Like what are you talking about? You can do so many things. Like you can't physically buy money with happiness, but
Buy happiness with money.
Buy happiness with money, but I believe that like money can create happiness like out of different ways.
Because it can create like options and opportunities. Because you
100%.
Didn't have to go to the job that you hated. You could spend it like working on your health and hanging out with friends and buying your mum a car.
Yeah, I didn't actually buy my mum a car, by the way. I was just giving that as an example.
I was like, this guy.
But
this is David Dobrik.
Yeah. But I don't believe that at all. I think that money can create happiness for sure, and it makes things easier. And like there's so many people out there that are like super materialistic, and they buy something and they get super happy. Like it's momentary, like it's in the moment. But like I believe that I'm a lot happier than when I didn't have money and I was in an airport not being able to buy a sandwich. Like that's fucking no. I'm a lot happier now.
No, that's great.
For sure. Yeah.
No, I love that. I'm reading this book at the moment. Like, You're a Badass at Making Money. Have you heard of it?
No.
Oh.
I never read.
Oh, okay.
I'm a consumer of videos.
Yeah, you're a big fan of YouTube,
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, she talks about it, and at the beginning of her book, she, like, honestly has a whole chapter about why you owe it to yourself and everyone in your life to be as rich as possible. Obviously,
100%.
doing it in, like, an ethical way, because we're all about that. But it's just, like, if you're making money through something that you love, like, it's always better to have way more money than being like, no, I'm fine with just this amount and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have two sides to that. Like, you're selfish if you have money, but you're selfish if you don't have money. Like, what about your family? Like, that's so selfish, not being able to have money for your family. And then people would look at it also like, you're so selfish for being greedy. It's like, what the fuck?
No, because, like, some of the wealthiest people I know are so generous and so giving. Do we have the same friends?
Yeah, I think we do. And like, there's so many people that are like so down to earth that have an insane amount of money.
Yes.
Like, I go and stay at like Airbnb sometimes, like tiny homes. Like that's what I love doing.
Tiny homes are so cute.
Yeah, they're the coolest things. And one of the guys that I met, because like it's definitely something that I want to do like in the future. It's like it's what I'm going to do next. For people listening, it's just like it's the best business model. Not the best. Dropshipping's the best. But after that, Airbnb tiny homes. I'm just giving free game right now. If you have money, you need to have money for that. But
yeah,
the guy that I was talking to that when I stayed in one, I'm like, dude, this isn't like he has 2 Airbnbs. He lives in like a very like what is it called? Oh my god, I'm having
off grid.
Yeah, kind of like off grid, I guess. Yeah, off grid, and his house was really nice, and he just looked like a really nice like down to earth guy. And I'm like, dude, like, what do you do? Like, what do you actually do? And he's like, I was like, do you work? And he's like, no, I just do Airbnb now. I just have 2 Airbnbs. And I like, because I always pick their brains. I need to know how they're making money and stuff. And then I'm like, well, how did you get here? And he's like, I'm originally from Sydney, and I had a fruit company, and I exited it for like I think he said 7 million, maybe a few million, or like 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like a fruit company.
I feel like it's the boring businesses that do well.
And he's just like, yeah, I got bored out of it, moved down here. And I'm like, dude, you're so humble. Just like giving me nothing. He's literally not telling me anything. But like, he is just a sick guy.
I love that. Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, with money, you can be very generous. The only part of like money doesn't buy happiness that I do agree with is if you're sitting there being like, I'm like, if you're not a happy person and you choose to be negative and see all the negatives, and then you're like, oh, once I have money, then I'll be happy. And you're solely relying on money to bring you happiness. Whereas like, I feel like if you're happy now and then you get money, it's only going to make it even more.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're coming from abundance. You're attracting more of what that feeling. Like you attract what you feel. It's just the fact. You attract what you feel and what you think of. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your vibration is a magnet. So if you're angry, you're gonna get more of that. If you're running late and you're stressed, you get stuck in traffic. Like you're happy, more things will come. I don't know, you'll have a really good conversation. Something will pop up, and you've just got to stay in that vibration for as long as possible without forcing it. Don't come from the lack of. Do things that make you feel happy. What makes you feel happy? Going to the gym, going for a hike with your friends, going for a morning coffee, waking up early, going for a swim. But then there's some people that just like laying in bed, and that's great. Like that makes me happy sometimes on a weekend. I want to be lazy because I don't want to work.
I love that.
And yeah. I'm a massive believer in that. I think I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
I feel like I did.
No, I'm loving this conversation. Yeah. So I have something else I want to ask you, and it's not to do with money, but is there anything else you wanted to sprinkle in there?
Oh, no. Well, you can ask me anything about money. I'm super transparent when it comes to that. So,
what's your bank details? Oh, sorry, what? Okay, so I don't know if you know. Do you know Luke Belmar? Have you ever heard of? Oh, I love his videos. I love his content. And Iman Gaz.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I watch so much like men content. It's really bizarre. Like, I'm sure there's some queens doing stuff like that. I just haven't found them yet. But anyway, especially Iman, he talks a lot about how like when you're in your building phase, don't get distracted with women. Don't get distracted with that. Like build your empire and then have them there. And I'm curious, like, what your thoughts are with that, like whether you should just focus all your energy when you're building, or do you think having somebody there along the way is like helpful?
No, I completely agree with what Eman said.
Okay. Yeah,
I think that any energy other than your own in the building phase is just not worth. Why? Like, you're going to get another opinion, even if they are supportive. It depends what building phase, I guess. Like, if you're, I don't know.
You're like, oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah, my girlfriend's going to kill me.
Was she there during your building phase, though?
No.
Okay, so she came after your building phase.
Yes.
Okay, and you don't think you would have been able to have like a...
No way. No way. Absolutely not. Like, I would get distracted. I would need to take her out. Like, because,
true.
Like, you got, like... I would have to support her, there goes financially. No, I don't think so. You can't. I think that you should just, the only thing that you should be focused on is what your goal is. And I think that you shouldn't let anything around you distract you from that. Even friends. I know that sounds like a bit cringe in a way, but I didn't hang out with anyone. No, I'm building, and yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I do.
Okay.
I didn't think that I would, because there's some stuff that I don't agree with that what they say. I love them both. I reckon they're great. They're so good. Emil's classy. So Luke's a brain machine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't want someone around me in my building mode. No.
Okay.
Like even now, like there's sometimes where I just need to be alone. 100%.
But she's obviously like aware of how you work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, that's
and
cool.
so yeah, that's.
A lot of relationships just end it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, I got to break up with my partner to be
but
rich.
then there's some people that do it completely fine. But for like, I think like these guys speak from experience, right?
Yeah.
There would be people out there for sure that have had a relationship in their building phase where they've both become successful. But I've got to speak from my experience as well. So no, no.
No. Cameras are back. Sorry if you're watching. Lol. A little bit of a storage situation. Anyway, so I was asking, how did your girlfriend take it before you kind of have cleared up and been focusing on your health? How was it when you were in your hermit phase and you weren't seeing anybody for a bit there?
Oh, like I would see her.
Oh, okay.
Every now, like yeah, she'd come over a couple of times a week, but she was great. Like she'd talk me out of it and stuff, and be like, "It's only temporary." She's super spiritual. Yeah, she's great. And that definitely helped a lot.
It's only temporary. That's such a good reminder.
Yeah, like she's very, very good when it comes to that stuff. But sometimes, like to be honest, like a guy just doesn't want to hear. In a way, like you don't want to turn to your girlfriend. Like you're. For me, like I don't want to get advice from. Like actually, that sounds.
We can cut anything you don't want on here.
Yeah, I just like. Oh.
Do you just put your microphone a little bit closer?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
I know that I can get out of it myself, so I don't want advice. And like
I don't think it's advice. I think it's just like, hey, I'm supporting you.
But which sometimes I think that you could frustrate a guy because you're supposed to do everything yourself. And but I think it's great. Like it's like we're just saying, like in a way, like a yin and a yang. It's like they definitely balance you out.
Yes.
And I think that just like when I get in those little ruts, she's great. She talks me out of it, and she just says things, and you're like, you know what, like that makes so much sense. And
I really hope she's listening to this.
I'll make her.
Yes.
And yeah, so. Yeah, we have a healthy relationship, for
Beautiful.
sure.
I love that.
Yeah. Like I just need my own space and stuff, and she does her own thing, and yeah.
Yeah, but if you're on the building phase, break up with your partner.
Which
no,
I
I'm kidding.
probably didn't get in there, because I think it cut out before you asked that question, maybe.
Oh, I'll keep it all in.
Oh, but didn't it cut out before that?
Like it was still recording on here.
Oh, okay.
We have all of the audio.
Oh, okay. Okay, totally understand.
Yeah. We G. Don't
now
worry.
I know why you're not as upset about it.
Yeah, you were like, gosh, she is carefree.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that would kind of be my answer to that.
Yeah. Okay. I really respect that. So the question we've all been waiting for. The hot topic of your car as a tax write-off.
Okay, yeah. So
what
I
type
don't
of car do you have, first of all? Sorry.
What type of car? I have an AMG. It's a CLA 45. It's a Mercedes, and it's what we did was there was I think it was a grant. Like I just worked really close with my accountant on it, and it was like the instant asset write-off, which is like you get up to 60,000 plus GST or something. I think that's accurate, like 60,000 plus GST, which is 66,000, which you can deduct off a car. And
any car?
Yes. I'm not sure any car. Like my car's a sports car, so I'm not going to throw that out there and say, yeah, any car. But with my car, yeah. And so that was able to bring my my income down a lot. And then There's other things that you can do as well. Like, yeah, so that's how I did that. So I definitely wouldn't have bought that car if I couldn't claim a portion of it or some of it or anything like that. It ended up costing me like 75, but I didn't care spending the extra money because it was just like, this is cool. I really wanted it. And I ended up, yeah, I was happy spending that amount of money on it. And then with but now you can't claim as much. I think it's only 20,000.
Damn it.
Yeah.
They cracked onto it.
So last financial year was the last year with it.
That's just so smart. So I guess this is why you get the people who know what they're doing, so they can tell you all these like good legal loopholes.
100%. It's like spend money on a good accountant. Like you can spend money on a cheap accountant that's going to do something dodgy, but you're going to do something that will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like you'll fuck up somewhere, whereas you might as well spend it on an expensive accountant and save hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay, so how do you find a good accountant?
Network.
So you just ask your pals, hey.
Well, I got it off someone like that was, yeah, like my one deals with e-commerce and everything, so he knows the industry. There's also like grants that you can, I think it's an export grant that you can get, and it's called like EDMG, which you can get like 50% of your marketing expenses from overseas spend back at the end of the financial year as a rebate. Don't quote me on it. But
this is not financial advice.
Yeah.
This is for education purposes only.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to do things and you have to hit certain milestones and you have to qualify for it. You can't just go and apply for it and get. But it's great. Like you could spend $300,000 and get $150K back. Halves your customer acquisition costs. You could probably use it to pay tax. Probably, don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of things.
So in a podcast I was listening to, you spoke about how when you first started making all this money, you had no idea that you should probably be saving some for tax, and then you got like hit with a big old bill. What was that situation?
That was super scary because I thought that I was going to get arrested. No, I didn't actually think I was going to get arrested, but yeah, it made 19-year-old me super stressed. And I didn't know, and then I realized that the ATO, just at the end of the day, want you to just pay the bill. It's as simple as that. They'll help you out. They'll put it on a payment plan. And yeah. Majority of people that you talk to, so like if you go talk to pretty much anyone that started a business, they've definitely, and I think I said this as well, like they've definitely had a tax situation where they're not, like I still talk to people to this day about that. And that's really what we work on inside of the mastermind, is like working on tax and things and getting the right accountants and making sure that you're doing everything correctly. If they go and do dumb shit, I'll literally be so angry. Like I'll be like, guys, what are you doing? Why would you spend your money on this? You're building a business and you want an exit and you're going to go do dumb shit like this? Like, no way. Like people just need to hear that sometimes. But yeah, it was a super scary situation because I didn't know. I didn't save for it. I had no money to like go, okay, yeah, let me just go pay this big tax bill. And then all of a sudden, all my money out of my account is gone. And so, yeah, it was really scary. And then I just worked with my accountant, and you can put it on a payment plan. Like, yeah.
Oh, I love how chill you just made that feel.
Yeah. Well, I want to make it clear that, like, everybody goes through it. So, like, I talk to so many people that are in the e-com space especially, and they get hit with a big tax bill, and they question if they want to do it or not. And it's like, come on, man. Like, just play it smart. Like, just so you know, they're here to help you. They're not here to make you go bankrupt. They like, I don't think.
Yeah.
But there's ways that you can just make it, you just pay it off. And then when people hear that, they're like, oh, he's been through it as well. Like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I feel better now. And that's what I would just want someone to know. Like, because so many, even people that don't go through e-com, like don't do e-com, and they're in other industries and they get hit with tax, it's fucked.
Yeah.
You get so scared because you grow up and you hear that like the tax man is like this big evil guy that wants to take all your money, which probably does, but but yeah, there's ways that you can make it less stress-free, make it more stress-free. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That made sense in my head.
Same.
Okay. So if people are listening to this and they're like, all right, Dacian, you've convinced me. All right. I am going to start dropshipping. Where would you?
Easiest thing ever. Yeah.
Okay. So easiest thing ever. Where the heck if people know nothing, nada, where would you start? Would you start on YouTube?
I mean, it'd be a bit biased if I wouldn't say like Ecom Academy, because like with my education company, because if you went somewhere else, then I don't know what you're gonna watch. I don't know if it's the right information. But I do everything like kind of a little bit different, like to many people, and I'll go into that a little bit in a moment. But if I had no money and I would start again, I'd probably just watch YouTube. But you shouldn't actually. I'll take that back. You shouldn't be starting if you got no money. Like things are a lot different when I started. You could launch ads and you could make sales with like a $10 a day budget.
Okay, so how much would you recommend somebody has in their account?
A couple thousand.
A couple of thousand, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I had a couple of thousand and started again, I think that I would pretty easily make it work.
Okay, so just cheeky 2K?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how
100%.
much time on your hands would you want?
I don't think you should be doing anything else if you're trying to do it full time.
Okay.
But when it works, you don't need any, like, you get a lot of time back. So in the beginning, you put in obviously like a lot of work. And, I mean, like for me, let's say I was to launch a store, I would have a store done in about 3 hours. And then I would launch it that night and start making money the next day.
Because you've just done it so many times.
Yeah, for sure. You got to think, like, you're learning a new skill. It'd be like me going and trying to become a professional tennis player. I'm not going to be successful overnight. Some might. Maybe not with tennis, but dropshipping is obviously a completely different industry than tennis. But like, the analogy that I'm trying to give is like, you got to learn the skills first.
Yes. Okay.
And the reason that I could build a store in like 1 to 3 hours is because I've done it so many times. Whereas a newbie, we give around like 20 days for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so you only need like 2 weeks to get your store up and running.
It depends how much time you would have put into it, right? Like, when we work one-on-one with people, we give them a 27-day game plan or a 28-day game plan. And by the end of it, they have a store up and running. Just to start off slow. Now, we've had people that have done it in a week. We've had people that have made $30,000 in their first month, quit their job. We've had people that might test 5 stores. Everyone's different. It really depends on the individual. And if you wanted to make it work, you could have it up and running. If you were a beginner and knew nothing, you could have it up in a week and you could start making money the next day after that week. And it's just a very, like, if there was someone listening in their job right now and they didn't like what they were doing and they haven't tried ecom, or they gave it a go and tried wrong product, I'm sorry, but like, they're actually a fool. Like, actually.
You're
like,
stupid.
Why? It's just... These guys that are 15, 16, 17 making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month aren't lucky. They just have a system and they just they repeat it. And
so when people say drop shipping is dead, you say,
good, don't do it. I'll make more money. Like, it's as simple as that. Like,
okay, so it's definitely not dead.
Of course not. That's the most delusional thing that I've ever heard. Like, if someone said that to me, I would just be like, oh, bro, you have no idea. Like, actually, I wouldn't even waste my time in that conversation because what am I going to do? Try and convince them that it's not dead? Like, if they think that, cool, go to another industry, man. Like, it doesn't bother me. And like, that's probably like my ego talking as well a little bit, because it makes me a little bit frustrated when people say that, but they just have no idea.
Yeah, but you've also seen firsthand
the
changes it makes in people's lives and how much it does work. So I don't think it's egotistical. I think you're like, I've seen the evidence.
We've got people doing like $500,000 a month with their stores. Like, my age, maybe a little bit younger. I got multiple people, dozens of people making $50K plus a month that have never drop shipped in their life, and they can just do this full time. And I see it in the individual before they even work with us. You can just tell he's going to be successful. Yeah.
Why? What is it?
I think that it's they're not doing it. Okay, I got to word this carefully.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to pick it but you can see they're just consistent. That's the word. They show up every coaching call. They're always talking to us every single day. And yeah, you can obviously tell that person's going to do everything in their power to be able to make it successful. And going back to your question, if someone just say dropshipping is dead, I wouldn't have a conversation with them. I would, yeah. It would be a waste of my time, and it would make me probably a little bit frustrated. Yeah, but I like that question. That was a really, really good question.
Thank you.
Because people say it all the time. Dropshipping's dead. It's like, okay, buddy, you tested one product and it didn't work. You spent $20. Of course it's dead. What strategy are you running? And that's a good question.
What were we talking about before that? We were going down somewhere, and now I've forgotten. Oh yeah, okay. So we're starting. Somebody's listening here. I'm the listener. I want to start. Okay, so you said that you should be doing this full time. Should you? What if you're like working a job and you're like, look, I'm not really enjoying it.
Perfect. If you're working a job, when I say like, it just depends how fast you want to do it. Like everything comes down to math. Like the person that splits their energy between a job and trying to do drop shipping, opposed to having a person that's going to do drop shipping full time. The guy that's doing drop shipping full time is going to get there faster. At the end of the day, you can make anything work. And I definitely think that if you're juggling a full-time job, it's great because you have cash flow. Whereas the guy that's doing this full-time has to have money saved and he has to make it work. Either way is fine.
Okay, so yeah, say if like Susan's listening to this and Susan...
My mum, yep.
Susan! Is that actually your mum?
Yes,
Susu. Susu. Susan's listening to this and she really values safety and security. She has a good emergency fund, but she also has a full-time job and she's like, I want to start drop shipping and make money and then quit. Is that like a good strategy?
Yep.
Or if you have an emergency fund, she'd be like, YOLO, quit the job.
I think it's great.
Okay, so Susan can still make this work.
Absolutely.
Whereas like Jeff might be listening to this and then he's just like, yeah, nah, I'm going to send it. I actually thrive under stress and pressure. So I back myself and I have I don't know, 10K to survive off.
Perfect.
Both works.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Done it with those two different personalities, I guess you would call them.
Okay.
Characters.
So I guess it's understanding how you work. Like personally, I love having like emergency money so that I know I can like YOLO send it in something and then if it doesn't work out, I know I'm not like in my head going to die. Not that you would anyway, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, it sounds like you're like, nah, thrive off that.
Yeah, like the reason I'm the complete opposite is because if I have a backup, it means I'm not all in. So like I am going into something with the intention of this may not work, where it's the wrong mindset to go into it with, in my opinion. Whereas you have to go into, I personally go into it with the mindset of I'll make this work. And so the difference between the two is one of them you're going in with the ideology of giving up and the other one you don't give up. But both can work, in my opinion.
Oh, I really needed to hear that. Fuck, that's so fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think like the biggest risks or leaps you've taken in life have always like paid off the most?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I'll give one example. We were talking about it before the podcast. I made $33,000 with a trade that I did. Profit. It was $33,000 in about 18 hours. I did a day trade. And like that was a huge risk that I took. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I did, but like it was a completely different industry. And yeah, that was a big risk that I took. I made a lot of money from that. And just in a day, it's like having that in your account. It's obviously like, holy shit. And then big risks, I invest in a lot of things like mentors. I spent about $30,000 on a mentor and he made me a lot of money.
Damn. And are we allowed to know the mentor?
Yes.
Why'd you sound skeptical? Yes.
He is in America. Their company is called Closes.io. It's Cole Gordon. They teach sales and they teach company structure. They teach how to run a company. They teach management, everything that you could think of taking a business from zero to over $1 million a month.
Damn.
You would learn in that. So I paid over $30,000 for that.
Did you feel sick when you paid it? Were you like, it's a lot of money? Or
He was so good at sales that I literally ripped out my credit card and I was like, holy shit, I'm about to do this. And then I was like, if he can sell me, like far out, it's going to make me a lot of money. Now, another thing is, like if you go to invest in a program or something or a course or a mentor, there's always another option. So I put mine on the payment plan. majority of people don't have 30 grand to just spend like that. So you put it on a payment plan, you pay like 3 grand a month over 10 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So every single program's going to have a payment plan option.
Okay.
That's just free game.
That's good.
Yeah. Every program will have one.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't want to lose the sale. They would rather make like 3 grand opposed to losing the sale. So yeah. If you go to invest in a mentor, just ask for a payment plan at the end of the call.
Smart. I love that you say 30K is a lot, because I suppose compared to what you've made in comparison, do you feel like that's not that much, or do you still feel like that's a lot? I think maybe I'm thinking this because I had a girl on this podcast who last year alone has paid $180,000 in self-development stuff. I was like, $180,000.
I mean, it depends how much money she's making back from that. If that makes her a meal, it's a great investment. But if it makes her 100K, it's probably not the best investment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
For me, I made that back in my first month of working with them very easily.
Love it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I totally agree with that. But before I keep going with that, I think one of the questions that you had was, where would you start? Is that what we keep going?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Everyone's like, seriously, where do I start?
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to tell you exactly what to do right now. So
please.
Obviously it's not super in depth, but if you see a product on Facebook or Instagram, they're making money off that product. Look it up on AliExpress, see what you can get it for, and run the same product. It's as simple as that. No person in their right mind is going to be spending money on advertising on a product that's not making them money. Do you know anybody that would do that? Like, absolutely not. I definitely wouldn't want to lose money through Facebook advertising. So you go and run the exact same product. You model their website. Keyword, model, not copy. And you go and you can also find out what they're targeting. Facebook show you what interests they're targeting. Go and target the same audience. Like, you're going to make money. It's as simple as that. Make your store look like a legitimate business. Don't make it like a little shitty dropshipping store that was built in 2003 on some stupid, dodgy website. Look like a legitimate brand. Become good at Canva. Canva's the best for dropshipping.
I love Canva.
If I showed you some of the stores that we run at the moment, you'd be like, there's no way that's a dropshipping store. Everybody thinks there's this big difference between a brand and a dropshipping store. There is none. The only difference between a brand is majority of the time they use a warehouse. They use a 3PL inside of Australia. Where we dropship, there's no difference. There's no reason why you can't make your dropshipping store look like a brand. And that's why we have so much success. And so we get very good shipping times as well. It's like 7 to 10 days shipping from China. So we're still drop shipping. It's a low risk.
How do you get it so quick?
It's the sauce.
Oh, okay. You can't drop the sauce here.
Oh, it's our warehouse. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. But if you went through like AliExpress without
it'd be like 40 days. Yeah.
40 days, but that's insane. How will people wait that long?
Exactly. I don't know.
People want things now.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't. It doesn't work.
Okay, and that brings us to today's sponsor, Ecom.
I was pivoting my way there. But yeah, so that's it. Just run something that's already running. It's like the exact same way as how I found that blanket product. I've sold back products. I've sold masks. I've sold so many different products. And it's all because I saw them on Instagram. Someone did the hard work for me. They made it work. And then all I have to do is compete against them. And again, you don't want to copy. Get creative with it. Have fun with it. Design your store. Another thing is, like, a lot of people make the process easy, right? Like, consumers are lazy. Don't send them to like your homepage. Don't have a million buttons in the way. Just have one button on your website. Buy now. It's as simple as that. If someone's trusting you enough to get onto your website, why the fuck would you send them to like a blog? Why would you do that? You're here to make money. What's a blog gonna do? Who's even reading a blog under the age of 60? Have you read a blog? Maybe.
No. Do I give those? You give me read blog vibes. It's the biggest insult I've ever heard. You know what I get annoyed about? Is when you're just trying to find a goddamn recipe and there's a whole essay above it about how good this recipe is. I was like, I don't want that. Just give me, and you just scroll to the recipe.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't read blogs. Cool. Thanks for coming to my
It's the
TED
same.
Talk.
Like people just want to buy.
Yeah,
They
okay.
just want to consume. They
Yeah.
and like they trust you enough to go onto your website, and you're going to give them other buttons to go to other than a buy now button. What are you doing? Why would you throw them off? It doesn't make sense. And so, like, yeah, you can have a home page, track your order page, and things like that. But get rid of the blog. Get rid of the unnecessary stuff that's on your website, and your conversions will go through the roof. And so another thing is, like, people think multiple products equals more money. It's such a lie. I don't know where people are getting this information from. They launch their stores with like 10 products on there. It's like, what, you're selling a blanket hoodie and then an iPhone case. What kind of brand does that? Do you see HighSmile do that? Do you see all of these big companies doing that? Absolutely not. They stick in their industry and they capitalize on it. And so just launch one product, make sure that it works, and then after that do post-purchase upsells, one-click upsells. And that's where you make an insane amount of money. Make sure that the recipe is working first, then add in more products after that are related to your product. And yeah, like you're going to lose a lot of trust if you sell a blanket hoodie and then try and sell like an iPhone case or jewelry or something like that as a general store.
So if you're selling the blanket hoodie, stick to that until it's doing well, and then have like an add-on options, of like slippers or something.
Yeah, socks, something like that.
Love a good pair of socks.
Yeah, absolutely. A beanie. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
So many different things. And you do a post-purchase upsell, which is essentially, it's a one-click upsell where they don't have to, like, let's say that they've purchased the product. Then after that, what they do is, instead of going to a thank you page, it redirects them to an upsell. And so at the time, all of their details are stored. And so they don't have to fill out all of their information again, their shipping, their last name, email, billing, everything, full name. They don't have to do that again. More clicks equals less sales. All they have to do is click one button because they're still on our website. They're still in the purchase phase. And it says add to order. Boom. Your conversions go through the roof on that. And you sell the same product for like $20 off or whatever. You might make an extra $10 on the sale, but you sell 100 of those a day. That's $1,000. Is that 10 times 100? Yep. Yeah, I had to double check that. But yeah, it's as simple as that. And that's straight profit because like you've already made the sale, you've already got the acquisition of the consumer. Like it's not costing you more money, you're just making more money. So you can afford to bring down the product costs a lot.
Okay. And what about if you launch a product and then it does shite for the first week? You're like, ooh, it's not doing well. Do you just keep going or?
So that's a really good question as well. So in the beginning, when you're launching a product, you're identifying, this is what we teach, right? And it's the same with any business. It's not even just e-com. You're just identifying where your bottlenecks are in the business. You have two types of bottlenecks, which is what we teach. And you have your marketing bottlenecks and then you have your website bottlenecks.
What's a bottleneck?
So a bottleneck is essentially like where it's going wrong in your business.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So let's say that you launch and a lot of people use sales as the analytic to look at if it's working or not. Okay, which is wrong. So wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. Okay, and the reason being is because you might be getting a really bad, let's say like for an example, hypothetical, you're getting a really bad cost per click, right? So there's so many different phases of what a consumer goes through. And you're trying to figure out if it's the marketing that's going wrong or if it's your website.
Oh, okay.
And then let's say it is your marketing. Okay. And what's the analytic that we're looking at where it's going wrong? All right. So we're sending it to enough people. A lot of people are seeing it, which is CPM. So cost per 1,000 impressions.
Okay.
And let's say the cost per click is really expensive. So it's costing a lot for the audience, like the audience to click on your ad.
Right. So 1,000 people might see it, but then if only like 5 people click on it, that's really bad.
Well, an example would be anything over like at the moment, because ad costs have risen, I would say like $1.20 cost per click is not good, or $1.30.
That's expensive because then once they're on there, they're not all going to buy.
Exactly. So this is where the source comes in.
That's where the source comes in.
What might happen is like you might be getting $1.30 cost per click, and then they're coming to your website and you get a couple of sales. Or let's say it was a $4 cost per click. And this is an example that we did with one of our mastermind clients the other day. So he was getting a $4 cost per click and his store was converting at like 7%, which is extremely good, right? 7% conversion rate is good. So every 100 people, 7 people buy.
Oh, that's okay, cool.
Yeah. And so but his store was converting. We figured out, okay, it's not his store that's going wrong. It's his marketing. He's getting a $4 cost per click. If we bring that down to $1, we get 3 times the amount of people come to your store. If we bring that down to $1. So how do we do that? The ads aren't working. So it's an indicator that the ads weren't working. His audience wasn't resonating with the ad. So we changed the ad. We made UGC, which is user-generated content. And essentially what that is it doesn't look like an ad. It'd be like you grabbing your phone right now being like, I've struggled with anxiety for the last 3 years and this is the solution to it. Just shot it on your iPhone.
Okay.
And why that works so well is because it looks native to the platform. People don't like being sold. And so when it looks native, it just looks like an Instagram story. And so it's more authentic. And anyway, so we launched UGC with him. And literally the next day, it brought it down to like $1.20 cost per click.
That's epic.
And he went from making $300 days, unprofitable. Now he makes, I think I could check right now, that like he's doing like $4,000 days in like 2 weeks. Like literally a couple of days after we fixed that bottleneck. So that's an example of a bottleneck. So we figured out what was wrong and we just fixed it. And so it's the same with a website. So you might have a really good cost per click, but they get to your website and they're not converting. Zero conversions. And then so we work on things in there. So like the 2 biggest things we work on is pricing objection. They're not buying because they can't justify the pricing, or it doesn't look branded enough. They don't trust. So the 2 things that we work on a website when it's a bottleneck in the website is trust or financials, like financial objection. And that's what we work on. Then we'll work on bringing it down by $5 increments, seeing what works well, and so on and so on. There's obviously, it's super in-depth. But that's what we're here to do with our clients, like and our students. That's what we teach them. It might sound like super overwhelming, but it's really not. It's just you identify what goes wrong. And then, so let's say your question was, what happens after a week if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
Cut it and go to the next one.
Okay. So it's okay to just try
100%.
Like, do many of your clients get it first go?
Yep.
Or do they have to try a few?
No, a lot do.
Okay.
And then a lot don't.
Okay. And I think that must be so comforting, them having you guys there to be like, there's actually nothing wrong with you. We're just going to try a new product.
100%.
Yeah.
One thing I always say is don't create emotional attachment to your product. What happens there is like, let's say that I'm selling the blue light blocking glasses and I was like, no, but I really want this brand and I want to build this really cool business and everyone's going to look at me. And then I really want to make it work because I like the product and I think it should work. It's like, okay, if you want to go broke, do that for sure. You're putting it to like the audience that you're putting it to, the demographic, clearly there's no demand for it. Don't create an emotional attachment for it. That's one of the best things about the dropshipping business model is because you can go next.
Thank you. Next, as Ariana Grande would say.
As she would say, yeah.
So that's actually what I was going to ask. Do you need to be passionate about the product you're selling?
Absolutely not. I've sold the stupidest products. I sold fidget rings.
What? Are you kidding? I need that.
It's a ring that you just fidget with for ADHD people.
Where can I purchase that?
I sold so many things. I've never been passionate about any of my products ever.
But you've been passionate about like the business and like seeing where things go wrong.
Yeah, like I've been I do it to make money. Like I don't do it like, and it's fun.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a really cool way of making money. You can do whatever you want throughout the day. You don't have a schedule, and yeah, like it's awesome. And so, yeah, like that's kind of the beginning process of launching a store is just identifying what's going wrong, and you can fix it for sure. Absolutely, it's any business. You just look at what's going wrong and you go, oh, that's where it is, or what does that mean that I need to change? Or it means that I need to change this, and then so you work on that, you change it, and you fix that bottleneck, and then you move to the next thing, and then it might be okay. Well, now we've had a bottleneck here. People aren't converting or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay, so I love how simple you made that sound. For your course, do you guys like walk everybody through very, very simply like this is how you build a website?
Yeah, you have
This
to.
is how you pick a product.
Yeah.
So it's very like easy to follow.
You have to, especially with beginners. I can't be like talking about bottlenecks and things like that if they don't understand what I'm talking about. So it's very, very entry level. It's why dropshipping is such a good business model because the barrier to entry is so low. You don't need experience. this is like the best stepping stone to learn. And then it's like me. Like I didn't have experience when I got into dropshipping. I was just having fun. And
not for the first 10 months, so.
Not for the first 10 months, definitely
not when he was hungry after Bali.
Well, like if there was something like what I have now, oh my God, that would have made my life so much easier.
Okay, yeah, cool.
But even with that, like, yeah, it's so important to test a product. Like you just have to, you can't look at a product and be like, yeah, that's going to work.
So from the sounds of things, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the recipe for succeeding in this type of stuff is one, like curiosity and the want to just learn how to do all these things. Maybe?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah?
And I think that also, like, what's the real reason why you're trying to do it? Even if it is to just make money.
Well, hang on. I haven't finished the recipe yet.
Oh, okay.
There's more.
What? Wait, sorry. Well,
this is the recipe I feel like we've gotten. One, the want to like learn and be curious, but be able to pivot. Finished. I hadn't finished, Dacian. Jesus Lord. And then also like a drive and consistency and like not giving up, and then having like a little bit of like capital to be able to invest like $2,000 or something.
Yeah.
Is that a good recipe?
I think so. But also, it's not like you got to tick off any of those things. Even if you just want to do it, just go for it. Like you don't have to, there's not any single reason why you should be starting a business, in my opinion. Everyone has their own journey. You could be like just dabbling in it and it works for you, and then you find out that you love it, and you find out that it changes your life and you're making all this money. Like a lot of people go through that experience as well. And there's not one, from what I've been through and like what I've noticed with other people, is everyone has their own story. Like, yeah, that's kind of like the answer that I would give for that, for sure. Like not everybody has this recipe that they need to tick off, and everybody's different. But for me, yes, that's what I would tick off. They were the things that made me go into this.
Yeah, and maybe having a huge sense of why you're doing it. Like for you, maybe your why was like to never not be able to eat a sandwich after Bali. Like to never feel that like helpless or poor, or to never have to like go work a shitty job that you don't want to work. Is that your why?
Absolutely.
So I'm putting words in your mouth. I'm sorry.
No, you're right though. And you're absolutely correct. And I think that if anyone is in that position, like there's no reason that like anyone can do it. Like if you actually like listen to my story, like even what I've like told, like dropping out of high school, having no friends that do what I do, and like a lot of people will relate to that and probably have an easier life that not an easier life. Wow, I worded that so bad.
Less things against them, maybe.
Yeah. Like I wasn't an entrepreneur. I wasn't out of my mum's womb thinking like I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I need to be the next Grant Cardone at all. I'm just having fun. And it happens to be that business is what I do for a living. And it's so great. And anyone can do it. Like literally anybody can do it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Before we get into the Fast Five to wrap things up, the last topic I wanted to talk about was leadership. Yeah. Because you have a team. How many team members do you have?
Now we've quite like slimmed it down. I think 6.
Okay.
6 or 7.
Okay, and are those Australian based?
Yes.
Yeah, and then you also have like a VA.
I have a VA in the Philippines, that just does like all the invoicing and bookkeeping and things like that. So then, it just frees up time for my employees so they don't have to invoice me because they're contractors.
Ah, okay, cool. So, leadership, I've heard it's quite hard. What's your experience with leading and the lessons you've learnt?
Yeah, so I guess it's completely different to obviously drop shipping, because with drop shipping, there's not much leadership involved. And so now it's tough, hey? Like I love it, but it gets tough. And I think that I have so much more respect for people that have a team, because it's so like it can be, you're essentially just waking up and trying to motivate people every morning. Yeah, making sure that they're making enough money and making sure that obviously like they're doing what they're told. But a lot of people have, like, my team's great. They're honestly great. But with leadership, I think that I've always somewhat wanted a team. Because I think it's really fun to work with, and I think I do a good job of company culture and making sure that everybody fits the right criteria Like if someone's not a good fit, there's no way that I would hire them even if they were smart at what they do. Like if you're not a good fit with my team's not going to resonate with you and they won't like you. So there's no way that I'll do that. So I make a lot of my decisions based off of the culture of what I've built, and I prioritize that and make sure that there's a good environment for my team to wake up with every morning and be motivated by at 8:30 every morning when they hop on a call, when we have our morning meetings every morning. It's like, yeah, that's like one of the coolest things. And it's also remote. Like we don't have an office, so they can work from wherever they want in the world.
That's really nice because you're giving them flexibility.
Absolutely.
And that's huge.
And like one thing that I always said that I wouldn't be is a guy that loves authority and creates a fake hierarchy in their job. And I think that I'm like that because of the experience that I've had with being in like the trade industry. There's a lot of shitty people and people that just love authority and think they're the king. And I just find that so cringe. I don't like that at all. So now I'm open to everything. My team are like the masterminds behind my business. They come to me with ideas. They do all of these different things. Hey, do you need help with this? And yeah, it's all, at the end of the day, your business bleeds from the neck down. So whatever there's a saying like the fish stinks from the neck down. And what that means is the business, whatever you're like, the business owner, is what your team is going to be like. So if you're not paying attention to your business and you're very lazy, they're going to be lazy. They're not going to pay attention. They're not going to be motivated. If you're really switched on, you're always on time. You don't let people, you're never late to a meeting. It'll create an expectation and you'll see that happen inside of your business. Now, again, I'm very new to having a team. I've only had a team for about 1.5 years now.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's only like a very new thing. I'd say like, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. And yeah, there's obviously like a lot of people that have like 20 employees, 30 employees. Whereas like, I think the max that I had was like 12.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, it was definitely full on. But yeah, one of the things that I try to work on now is working on my business, not in my business. And so hiring the correct people to be able to run it how I want it to be ran, or even on their own as well. I'd be happy with that. But that's what we teach. Is a lot of people in our our mastermind, we teach that a lot of people get into drop shipping, and it's the same with any other business, to create freedom, and then they end up working too much in their business and they don't have the freedom that they want. So what we teach them to do is to outsource things to VAs and automate the whole process to the point where they can buy their freedom back. And it all comes down to opportunity costs. So if I value my time, let's say hypothetical, $1,000 an hour, I can afford to pay someone up to $500, for example, an hour to be able to do the things that I didn't want to do. And so I've bought back time, plus I've got profit on top of that. And it all comes down to opportunity costs. And that's something that I learned at a very younger age when I was first starting out drop shipping and learning about sales and things, was from Russell Brunson, which is the owner of ClickFunnels. And he talked about opportunity costs. And I think that was one of the best things that I learned, was what do you value your time at? Okay, well, you can afford now to hire someone to go do this task for you. It's the same with, you think about like your house and the amount of time that I spend cooking and the amount of time I spend groceries. Like I just can't do that anymore.
Do you outsource that?
Yeah. A lot of the time I do, but I don't have like someone, like this is something that I was going to start doing, is getting a PA to do all of, not a PA, sorry, I don't even know what you call them, but someone to like just constantly clean the house, constantly do my washing, constantly cook my meals, because I'm wasting about 3 to 4 hours of my day, I calculated, doing all of that stuff, because I eat 3 to 4 times a day. And in that 3 to 4 times a day, I probably spend about an hour on each thing, because you got to prep it, you got to cook it, then you got to eat it, then you got to put it all away, and then you got to clean it, and then you got to put it in the dishwasher. And then like that's a long process. And you do that 4 times a day. Imagine what I could do with my business if I had an extra 4 hours back. And so that's what opportunity costs is. And I think that that's one of the best things that you can learn about.
So if you guys are looking for a job, hit Daecian.
And this is something because, Cormac Gray is one of my good friends, and I saw him post something on his Instagram story the other day where you can go into Uber Eats and you can pay someone $6 to $12 to go and do your entire grocery shop for you.
$6 to $12.
Yeah. Your entire grocery shop for you, and they handpick it. They go to there for you. Because I've done where they deliver it to you, like Coles and Woolies, and you just get the worst of the worst stuff. So like the vegetables are disgusting. They're all like old, and you get the worst batch. But with Uber Eats, you can do that, and they handpick it.
That's great. And then if you find a good person, you could just be like, hey, instead of going through Uber Eats,
I could pay you more.
I'll just pay you more because you're doing such a good job.
Yeah.
And then they won't have to pay the Uber Eats fee.
Yeah.
It's genius.
So smart. Imagine how much time that would save you. So much.
Yes.
So much time.
I get so distracted food shopping because I'm like, oh, get a marble.
I hate it.
Do you? I love it.
I literally hate it. I can't think of anything worse than food shopping.
What do you want me to?
Yeah. You hide.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's the worst thing ever invented. So I'm going to use that strategy now. Uber Eats delivery for groceries.
The OG cavemen are like rolling in their grave being like, you ungrateful.
Yeah. I'm trying to buy back my time, and I spend way too long going to Coles and things like that. So yeah, it's all about strategic plays. Like you just got to be strategic. Like it's hard to explain, and I think if you're not in it, it's very hard to see from the outside. Like, why the fuck don't you just go down to Coles and get it yourself? It's like, no, but you actually don't understand that that's money that's costing me to do that because I've stopped working on my business because, yeah, like I just had a mind blank then.
No,
I would make more money outsourcing that and spending time on my business to make more money rather than doing it myself. And that's all it comes down to. And you can just find like little different hacks of doing that. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy doing that. It's really cool.
Do you ever think that you've taken it too far to the point where you're like not even like enjoying the small things? Like, you know, when you maybe like take the time to like make a meal and you're enjoying that process versus you like outsourcing that altogether because you're just hell-bent on focusing on the business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that I'm at that stage yet. I know
you've done it too far.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people, they get to that stage where they're like almost outsourcing their entire life.
Yeah.
They're like, I need you to sleep for me. Here's $10. But yeah, I'm not there yet. Like I still cook, I still do that kind of stuff, and sometimes like cleaning is like super therapeutic for me. Like a Saturday morning, and I'm just like making sure everything's nice because I know that like probably people coming over and stuff because I have like a lot of friends that play chess and we just play chess.
You guys play chess? That's so wholesome.
I love chess. It's so good. Like, yeah, I'm super addicted to it. It's probably not good.
What? Nah.
No, it's so good. But
it's a good workout for the brain, apparently. Apparently it burns a lot of calories.
Oh, actually? Well, it's funny because like I say, yeah, I'm outsourcing to go so then I can work more on my business. But then I outsource too much and I'm like, I can probably stick some chess in here. Then I start playing chess every day.
No, that's good. That probably calms your brain, maybe. Maybe?
Yeah. But sometimes it's like a little bit too addictive where then I don't work on my business.
And you're like, whoop. Okay, wait. I lied because I wanted to talk about the Fast Five. But quick question.
What's the Fast Five?
Oh, that's a secret.
Okay. You were saying it before. I was like, was I supposed to know this?
Clearly, it doesn't listen to this podcast.
Anyway. You can't throw me under the bus like that.
Have you outsourced that as well?
Yeah. Like, just regurgitate me the stuff.
Okay, so I want to talk about distractions, procrastination, and not feeling like doing it. I think maybe there's a misconception where people think that people like you in these positions always feel motivated, never get distracted, and never procrastinate. Is that true or false?
False.
Okay, do you want to delve deeper into that?
No. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's times where I'm super unmotivated to do things. There's times where, I mean, I used to wake up. I remember when I was working way too much, and I would have like actual like panic attacks. Like I'd have to wake up at 3 in the morning, and I would not understand like what I'm feeling, and I think that I was kind of like, I don't even know, like detaching myself from reality. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like super kind of scary, and I would have to wake up and have a shower at like 3 a.m. in the morning because I couldn't kick out of it. I'd sit on the end of my bed, and keep in mind, like I'm living by myself and stuff, and this was like a few years ago, like 3 years ago. And I'm like, what's happening to me? I am the last person that should be feeling like this because I never let my mindset get to things like that and I don't admit it. But it was happening and I was confused and I didn't like telling people because I didn't want to admit it because then if I told someone, then I would admit it. And then if I admit it, then I'm manifesting it in a way.
Oh, okay.
So that was like the trick that my brain was playing on me. And so I would wake up and then I would have to like jump in the shower because of my anxiety. Or I don't even like calling it anxiety because it's like I'm attaching it to something. But I would
symptoms of anxiety. Maybe?
Yeah, like I was just feeling horrible. I would wake up and I was like panicking for no reason. I would be confused and it just kind of felt like I didn't know the difference. I didn't know like what reality was in a weird way. And I wasn't doing drugs or anything like that. I don't do drugs. I don't like drugs. I can't even do them.
Apart from caffeine.
I love caffeine. But yeah, I don't know what was going on in that period. So I think that it's everybody goes through it, and I think that if you're going through that, like everybody does. Yeah, a lot of people do. And it probably, I don't know how to explain it, but there's times where I'm not motivated for sure. And what I do is I'll lay in bed for a whole day or a whole 2 days or a whole 3 days. I won't do anything. 3 days later, I'm like, I feel unproductive. I'm going to work a fuck ton. And that's what I do. I let my body heal. I think you should listen to your body. The reason you're feeling those things is because you're not listening to your body. Or I will go to a tiny home, switch off for a bit. I think when you're getting to that point, there's just too much going on. You need to disconnect. The pendulum swung. I literally have a pendulum here.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it can swing too far in one way.
Yeah.
And then it's going to swing back.
Yeah. And whenever you're like that, I always say this to myself is I can't go any lower. And it's going to be like a slingshot. A slingshot has to be pulled back and pulled down to go 10 times the amount of force forward. And so like that's just the analogy that I give to myself. And also another analogy is like, as weird as it sounds, like I'm super obsessed with Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah, I love Harry Potter. And there's an episode, in the first movie, well, they're going into like this, they're like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like they're trying to find the Philosopher's Stone. And one of the things that they fall into like all of these roots. It's called like the Devil's Snare.
Yeah.
Have you watched Harry Potter?
Yes, I've watched Harry Potter.
So all of my Harry Potter fans out there, and you know what the Devil's Snare is, shout out to you. But the way they get stuck in it, and if you panic, it tightens up and it can kill you. And you have to become relaxed, and the more relaxed you are, then it releases you and it lets you go. And I think that that's a really good analogy when you're in those positions. Just let it happen, absorb it, relax. No, it's not going to be forever. It can't be forever. It just can't. So you just absorb it. One step backwards, 3 steps forwards. And that's just take time to heal. 100%, you have to listen to your body, because if you keep going, you'll shut down. 100%. It'll be worse. That's what I'd say.
Thank you for admitting that you sometimes spend like a day or 3 days in bed.
100%.
That's so just nice to hear, because again, I think Instagram can portray that people like you are just constantly working and constantly on.
Yeah. Like I definitely do. Like I work all the time.
Yeah.
I work so much, but the pendulum swings, and sometimes it's just like today I don't feel like working. So I'm not going to work. I'm going to listen to my body.
Today I don't feel like
let's literally Bruno Mars.
Good song. Okay, welcome to the Fast Five.
Fast Five.
Oh, you got nervous there. You were like, well, so those are fresh kicks, by the way.
I buy a pair every 2 months.
I thought it was every week. Every 2 months?
Yeah, I have like 10 pairs of these. My favourite shoe.
Okay. Easy gifts to buy for you.
Yeah. It's my birthday next week, everybody.
What date?
16th of August, 1999.
1990. I'm a 1999 baby as well.
99. Yeah,
good time.
Just before 2000. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a 2000 baby.
Oh, God, no. The shame.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fast five, I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you have to answer whatever comes to your mind the quickest. It used to be fast, but never ended up being fast.
Oh my God.
Stress. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, first question. What is your favorite quote?
If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Bang. Best advice you've ever been given?
Focusing on 2 different things and getting a 50% outcome. That what I was talking about earlier. So you can't physically get on. If you have a goal, you're going to double the amount of time if you split your focus. And that's why I focus so much on Ecom Academy, is because I have a goal. And if I put 50% of my outcome, if I split my energy into 2 different industries, I'm putting 50% of I can't get a 100% outcome of them both. It's impossible. So I'm making the process longer. That's the best advice I've got so far in business. One of them.
Okay.
I'm like answering them fast.
Yeah, you are. You're doing well. Yeah, I pre-gave the questions. No, I'm kidding. Okay, what is, I don't know if you read, but what's the best book you've ever read or listened to?
Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Green Light.
Oh, is that an actor?
Yeah. The guy of Interstellar, the guy of Wolf of Wall Street, the one that's doing that.
Okay, what's Green Light about?
Essentially, you need red lights to have a green light, so you need balance. And so, like, he uses the analogy of, like, in his life, it's like an autobiography in a way. He writes about his, like, life and the red lights, and then how a green light will come out of a red light. And that's essentially it. So a high will come out of the low, and he'll explain to you what his lows were, and some of them are fucked.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it makes you think, like, wow, what am I complaining about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I really like that. What did I say? A rejection is a redirection.
Ooh.
Print that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dropship it. And you can also listen to the audiobook of his as well. It's really cool to listen to.
Oh, his voice is so relaxing. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
Who, I already know these, but anyway, who is your biggest inspiration?
Jake Paul.
So random.
No, it's not.
Is it the content or the guy? Both.
Both.
Okay.
Jake Paul.
Okay. If you met Jake Paul,
pretend
I'm Jake Paul. Hey, how's it going? What are you going to say to me?
It's a bit of a weird context. I'll probably meet him one day anyway. But
you will meet him one day.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'd say if you just said, "Hey, how's it going?" I'd be like, "Hey, yeah, good. And you?" Yeah, easily Jake Paul. Some people are going to be thinking, "Why Jake Paul?" I can't hate someone that's that successful, and I don't like. There's so much that I could talk. Like, it's just like watching, like, even like Andrew Tate, right? You'll have people that just hate Andrew Tate, but they watch little clips of him. It's like you have people that hate Jake Paul, but they watch little clips of him that are taken out of context as well. If you actually watched what this guy has done, oh my God. Yeah. It's just you got to get over your ego and actually listen to someone. The only reason that they would hate him is because their ego is like jealous of them. They're envious. He's probably done some dumb shit, but I think he's been his business mindset, how, like, even him just, some of the stuff he does is insane.
Okay, I like that you're picking and choosing, like, the best bits. I know nothing about Jake Paul. Like, I know of him, but I've never seen any content. The only content I've seen is of his brother, Logan. Yeah. But that's cool. Okay, and the last question I have for you is, if you could embed a habit or a mindset into the listeners' ears to better themselves, what would it be?
Okay, I heard this quote yesterday. I'm just going to give a quote because, like, at the end of the day, you just have to start. And I heard this yesterday. It's either one day or day one. And I think that you should just start. You have the easiest business models out there right now where you can just go make money from thin air. And if you're not doing anything about it, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, actually, what are you doing? Like, imagine telling your grandparents that, oh yeah, you can just make money online now. They would be like, why the fuck aren't you doing that? Like, it was so hard for them to make a living. And they've worked so hard their whole lives, even your parents. And then like right now you're not even trying to put in the energy because I've got to go to work tomorrow. I don't have enough time. I've got to study. I've got to go to uni tomorrow, or I've got to go to a friend's house. I'm going out tonight. It's like if I looked at your schedule, every single person that's looking at this, I guarantee you I could find time for you to start a store. 100%. So yeah, that would be it.
That just got me so hyped. I love that. Okay, so if people are like, where do I find your program? Where do they find your program?
Yeah, I mean, we don't take on everybody because, it comes down to the individual. So we can't
Ooh, they're picky. I love this.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a bit different. Like, we definitely, it's not like if someone's not going to put in the work, like, why would I ever want you to be a representation of my program?
Oh, well, they've made it to the end of this
I mean,
podcast,
like,
so they're keen. But yeah, what's your website to apply to work with you guys?
You can't apply through a website.
Wait, what? How do you apply?
You have to hop on a call. Like, it's yeah.
Okay, how do you hop on a call?
Yeah, I guess like for someone listening right now, the only way that you would be able to do it is if you reached out on Instagram or something like that. But still, like, my replies on Instagram aren't the best. Like, I'm not that good at clean at it, but like that would be the best way for you to do it. Because I mean, majority of people's websites are their Instagram these days. Like, unless you're like a huge, like, we have a website and stuff, obviously, but you can't apply through there. But the best way to do it would be to reach out, or yeah, that's the only way. Instagram, or if you saw an ad, that's the only way to apply for it. Like, literally, that's the only way.
Okay, guys, if you see an ad from Ecom,
from me, yeah,
better click on it. Okay, cool. So then, what is your Instagram account so people can?
Daecian. It's just Daecian, Daecian.
Amazing, and we'll link it below because it's a fun one to spell.
I appreciate it, yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys enjoyed it, feel free to screenshot it, put it on your stories and tag us. You can come over to the party on Instagram. We're at Attitudes with Andy. You can subscribe and follow and all those groovy things and comment and like and share and just give me love and attention. Anyway, that's enough plugging. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dacian.
Of course, I appreciate you for having me 100%. This was a really, really good podcast. You asked amazing questions, and it's hard to be a host 100%. Like, I hope to be on here maybe in a year's time or something like that to see where we're at.
Yes.
We do another one, and I hope you're still going in a year's time as well and going hard with it. This was honestly a great podcast. It felt supernatural, and I hope that everybody listening enjoyed or took something away from it. And yeah, I appreciate it a ton.
Aw, thank you so much. That just made me feel so good.
That's awesome.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.